There, going into week 8. First of all, I am working on the expanded definition, so don't worry about it. There's no harm, no foul to you guys. You're all fine. It's my issue. I'm cutting out, but just don't worry about it. Okay, it'll all be good. Second thing is, this week and next week you're going to be working on your instruction manual, so that's why I wanted to take the time to do this this little video, to walk you through a few things, go over the due dates, and give you some tools to create it. So instruction manuals, you guys have already put up some pretty cool things that you want to do, right? There's lots of food, yum, things that I wouldn't have a clue what to do, how to create databases, creating to simulate circuits. This is probably really useful about how to do a deadlift. There's lots of interesting things, how to transfer files, but this is something I wish I had known how to do a long time ago. So really some really good possible instruction manuals here I think you guys are going to be able to work on. So an instruction manual really is just a recipe for getting something done. I tell the story about having an instruction manual for my daughter's tricycle when she was 3, and I had pieces left over that weren't in the instruction manual. And the manual was, the tricycle worked okay as long as she was level, but as soon as she went over a little incline, she fell over, so no good. I also spent some time when I was working as a technical writer, about 6 months, on a project where instruction manuals had been translated from Japanese to English, and then they needed, the next step was being translated into idiomatic English, kind of we all, sort of native-born English users tend to use. It was hard work, but it was really fascinating. And I think that instructional manual I got for the tricycle was among that bunch that just not translated very well. So manuals can be really important, right? And there's nothing worse if you're making something than getting a recipe that their steps are left out, or ingredients are left out. So even a recipe for food is not as simple as it looks. So this little thing right here is kind of an overview of the different kinds of manuals there are: service manuals, users manuals, operations manuals, training manual. A lot of people, I used to write training manuals for electrical engineers. That was fun. Policy manuals, organization, all kinds of manuals, right? And you will probably run into one or the other of these in your career at some point. The reason I didn't assign a specific type is because they're really dependent on the circumstance in which they're created and the organization, because they'll have their form, their format, their templates, their layouts, what needs to go in them, boilerplate versus things you create on your own. But they do share certain traits, which is really clarity of language, an understanding of the audience, and useful and usable formats and formatting, which is why I had you look at that thing on Perusall about instruction manuals. So this is just an overview of the different kinds of manuals that you may run into in your life. So, you're going to create a fairly simple one, which is just a lot more fun, because you can take weeks and months. It took me a long time to create training manuals for the electrical engineers that I worked for. And we're not going to do that. We just get an idea of how they come together, the things you need to pay attention to when you're creating them, and that's the kind of transferable knowledge and skill you'll be taking into your own job someday. So, hey, sorry for the little video break there. There's too many things going on all at the same time. I may have to do it again, but I'll get through this, I promise. Okay, so the assignment, which I put in the week 7 stuff, is to create a short manual about something you do well. And you guys are well on your way to doing that. I realized I had not put the due dates in for the project, so here they are. So for this week, by the end of this coming week, I want you to go find a couple of instruction manuals that are kind of like what you want to do, or in terms of content or format or something, something interesting. And then I want you to analyze each one of them in terms of who you think the intended audience is, what the purpose of this manual is, because it's sometimes not as straightforward as just putting something together. Sometimes it's also understanding the process, right? So there's a lot of talk in some manuals about understanding processes. How useful you think the instruction manual is that you find, visual appeal, is the language appropriate to the audience that it was intended for. Do you think it set out what it did what it set out to do? What problems do you see with it? So that's the big thing this week, is while you're coming up with your own, go find some, what we call these mentor texts, MENTOR, mentor. And they're sort of for teaching you some things to know, not necessarily how to put yours together, but some things to avoid or some things you might want to do. So that's what this analysis is for this week. And so that's for Monday. And then for Thursday, just in the Google Drive folder, create a new doc. The folder will say instruction manual. And then just post a list of the steps if you want to just drop some pictures in there that you're collecting or some links out to things. Use that sort of as an information gathering, a Google Doc, okay? It won't be the final project. It's just a place to show stuff and to let you practice getting those steps in some kind of order. And I'll take a look at them too, she says. If I see a big red flag, I'll let you know. But it's really to kind of, so you can see it all written down before you get into the process of building the manual itself. And then for the next week, you got a whole week to do your instruction manual. So this is how to go about it. So like I said, this is the instruction manual. And I'm not going to go over it again because I've already done it. But, you know, create it, take pictures of what you're doing, create your manual, give it to somebody, see if it works, and then, you know, get that feedback, and then post the feedback and the final version of your manual up into the drive. And that'd be that by the 28th, right? 31st. All right, so we can push this date back a little bit if you need to, but we'll see what happens. So if you want to do something interactive and you want to take the time to do it, go for it. Let me show you some of this stuff. Most of them look awful. I mean, they can look really, really boring. So you've already watched the peanut butter and jelly video about, you know, why you have to be careful about getting all those steps in there. So here's some examples of, you know, bad ones. These are really funny and bad. Like this is, you know, every night before food once daily to be taken 4 times a day, 3 times a day, every 3 times daily, take 1, take 2, take 3, 1, or 2. Warning, follow the printed instructions you have been given with this medicine. Like, say what? I'd probably be dead after taking all those drugs. This is a funny IKEA instruction. It looks, you know, like here's the washers, although they don't, if you look at it closely, it's like an M.C. Escher painting drawing. If you don't know who M.C. Escher is, it's E-S-C-H-E-R. You should, because they'll make your mind go nuts, because this actually does not seem to exist in time and space. Same with this thing, right? And that's sometimes what these IKEA instructions look like. Here's another one. Does it go this way or does it go that way? I don't know. Which way is it supposed to go? So there's all kinds of fun stuff in here. This is one from Honda motorcycles from many, many years ago. When a passenger of the foot hooves in sight, tootle the horn trumpet melodiously at first. If he still obstacles your passage, you get the point. I got to do it again. All right, trying it again. Yet another break. All right, anyway, these are some that are funny. There's more drawings and stuff. Do not throw antenna at spouse. There's just some fun examples. Here's some more good and bad ones. Like this one is, these are pretty good. It's kind of hard to see. Lego has got great instructions, just because they do. I just built this, and also Baby Yoda. Lots of little pieces, but I was able to do it because their things are so nicely color coded and laid out, so you can really see what's going on. Harder to do. When I do this class in person, I usually bring in this big box of Legos and we build stuff, doing this very thing. So they have really good instructions. So here's some other ones. This is really, like, can you even actually understand what's going on here? Everything's all squished together. It's like, what? I don't know. Not very good. Really, really pretty terrible. So this has got some good and bad ones. And of course I hit Google Images. You can find some on Google, just examples of good instructions, or you can do examples of bad instructions and see what you find. So for the little mentor text analysis you're doing for this week, you can get on Google and find something like this. or use other things too to find some examples of the kind of thing that you might want to do or not want to do. Now, some of the other things that I wanted to show you. This is a nice article that kind of works in conjunction with the one that's on Perusall. 3 qualities of good instruction manuals. They're easy to refer to, which means the formatting and the layout looks good. It's organized in a way that would make sense to any reader. This consult the user is all about, once you get your draft done, you give it to somebody to do what we generally call usability testing, although we can't do that really formally this time because we're not in that situation. But that's what you would do, is you give your manual. This is what happens with these things. You supposedly create the manual, you give it to somebody, they use it, and then they give you feedback on what worked and what didn't. Now, I would like you to do that for this. If you have trouble finding somebody to be your usability tester, let me know and we'll just see what happens, okay? They need to be easy to read, nice font design. For heaven's sake, don't do it in Gothic script. You can't read it. Read this little article and it will tell you a little bit more about font size and, exploring the product's features. Just, some good design tips and tools on this one, right? Now, the interesting thing that's happening these days with instruction manuals, this is a really interesting article from the BBC about what's going on in the world of instruction manuals these days. The technical writers, sometimes they make their whole careers out of writing really good instruction manuals. So this talks a lot about what makes a really good instruction manual and gets into, we did the photos. This is a cool instruction manual, right? Introduce your hands to your face and get acquainted with your beard. Pay attention to which way your hair grows. Wet your face with warm water, squeeze gel, and massage, right? That's a nice little instruction manual, and it's got funny little pictures in it. I don't know if any of you have ever seen any of these workshop manuals from the old days with car repair and service, but I remember them from when I was a kid. I didn't work on cars, but a lot of my friends did. And they had these Haynes guides. These days, Haynes is doing other stuff because there's not a lot of that. A lot of the car repair stuff is so complicated now that you really got to be into it. Again, this is IKEA, which people make fun of it, but you can tell what's going on, what they want you to do. Don't do this like a big X through it, but do this. Get a friend, get some help, right? So the other thing that's going on is that you all are in technical fields, and you know perfectly well that a lot of technology is being used these days to create how-tos and user manuals. One of my printers, my little cover printer, my Canon, if I do something wrong and I get an error code, I can take my phone and scan the QR code on there, and it will take me right to the Canon website and show me exactly what I did wrong, right? So that's a really great new technology that can be used for creating really good user manuals. So QRs in Excel. So again, there are things that you can do that are not just your typical, list of things and then list of steps. If you want to get a chance, you want to take a chance and work on these things. This is another sort of version of it. Infographics are a way to create instruction manuals. Right, this is an infographic. It's got this nice timeline. We're very big on infographics these days in the world because they're so visual and they can be very brief, and they get all the information across in a hot hurry. Right, checklist for winter. This is more about how to do them, how to use infographics and templates from Venngage. But what I wanted to show you is here's some instruction manuals, infographic instruction manuals. I mean, look at these. This is pretty nice. So you're asking me, I know you're sitting there thinking, like, how am I supposed to be able to do one of these? Well, I'm going to show you right now. The tool that you use is Canva. I love Canva. this, like Slack, Canva is one of those tools that a lot of companies are using because A, it's free for the most part. You can just give them an email address and you're there. Now I have a pro account which is really pretty cheap, but I use it all the time. My classes, I'm always making presentations and stuff. Like, you know, look at my recent. I've got a ton of these things, which I've done this a lot. But you can do it for free, and I want to show you how to do this. If you're looking for, let me see, instruction manual, it'll give you a lot of give you some templates here. Other things you can do, and instructions also. You know, Google different iterations of this. There are lots of them, right? How-tos and stuff. One that I found when I was playing with this a while ago, and I couldn't find when I was doing this, was about how to make a paper airplane. A paper airplane. And I went over there, and now I got a lot more of these things. This is kind of fun. I'll just show you how to make a paper airplane. Okay, simple instruction manual. And they got some other ones too. They got lots of things. Once you get in here, you can start finding all kinds of stuff. The nice thing about Canva is you can move or take away anything. You can, you know, if you want to put a picture in here, you can go find a picture of let's see if I can find a paper. Oh, something like that. Okay, and then I can just move that right in there and resize it, and it goes right there. It shows my paper airplane flying. Ta-da! If I want to add some text on there, I do text, little body of text. Here's an airplane. All right. And if you don't like something, you just drag it away, and it goes. You just drag it. Wait, come here. Go away. Come here. It goes away. Okay. You can upload pictures, your own images. See, this is stuff I've been doing. Things I've done a lot of this stuff. So you can upload your own images. You can upload audio. I've actually got audio that you're not going to put it under there, but you know you can do that. You can change background colors. You can do all kinds. You could look for, say I wanted to do a picture of an airplane, since I'm on the airplane thing. All these pictures of airplanes, it could be photos, it could be graphics. They have video, 15 seconds of video. Now these you usually have to pay for. So the thing to watch for when you're doing Canva is the little crown. That means they're going to charge you $1, probably $1. This one is free. That one's free. It's just going to go. Okay, so that's nice. So stop, go away. I don't want you. But there's a lot of them. All right, so you can go through all this stuff. Logos, you can add something to the Google Drive. There's just a lot of really great stuff you can do. You can animate like that. Oops. If you animate your thing, you can make it breathe. All right, I don't want to do. No, stop breathing. I don't want to animate. No animations. Just go back to this. All right. So you can't break it. There's no wrong to it. Just get in there and start playing with it, and look for other templates. You know, templates, instruction manuals. There's a lot of them. This is just, or you can just get a blank page and make your own. Now, when you get ready to, when you're done with it, this is not a share because I'm not animating it, but I'm going to do something else. So say, let me go back home and I'm just going to pick one of mine. Okay, when I'm done with it, you can share it with a group of people, or you can download it. They suggest different file formats. I generally go for PNGs or JPEGs because those are images and you can resize them when you put them on another page. Okay, but it doesn't make any difference. Vector graphics, MP4 videos, if you're doing presentations. You can make presentations in Canva that are actually really, really very good. And you can even animate some of the elements in it. When we get farther along for the group thing, if you want to play with the Canva presentations for the website for your team, I'll show you how to. We can walk back over here and I'll show you how to do it. But that's Canva, and they've also got. I'll go back home here. There's got all kinds of stuff here. I can just do infographics templates, and it will give you lots of templates for infographics. Okay, so it doesn't have to just be a user manual. you can create these infographics. And again, you just swap out stuff you don't want. I've created a bunch of these, and they're really, really fun. Depending on what you're doing, if you got a lot of timeline, you got a few steps, you got, this one's great for recipes, for example. Infographics, recipes. See, here's some infographics for recipes. A place to put your pictures. So I really recommend. And I'm not getting a cut off these people. Okay, I'm not getting any money from doing this. It's just my students who've used it in my 1121 class to create feature articles and things love this thing because it's so easy to use. Just be careful about the the little crowns because they'll cost you money, but these won't. Just look for the ones that are free and go for it. So, let me see if I can get back to my original page here. Ta-da! Okay, so that's Canva, and the link is right here. So this is just a bunch of stuff here on this page to get you going. Again, here are the assignments: is to do your analysis of 2 mentor texts, 2 instruction manuals, and then create a list of steps. This would be like, your first step in creating your instruction manual. Put the list of steps down and put some pictures in it too, just so you can have something to show me and to help you get yourself organized. And then this is all you're doing from now on. Now, there's going to be other things in week 9 that will get us going toward the team project, but it's mostly making sure you get the assignment, the individual assessment sheet that I asked for at the beginning of the class to me via email, and then setting up the groups, but we'll worry about that later. So I apologize for this video being very, very long, but there's quite a bit to go through. And if you have any questions, by the time you get this, the image will be, this video will be right here. It should be right here. If you have any questions, text me on Slack, and if not, I will talk to you all later.